In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to the College Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ben Jordan. And first, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone that's been listening to the podcast. We've had a great last 2 weeks in terms of viewership, in terms of feedback. I've been getting lots of positive comments about the podcast. We finally made it onto Apple Podcasts, which is a huge success. And anyways, today I am joined by Mrs. Daniela Kunkel, who just turned 20 yesterday. Am I right?
Yeah, just turned 20.
Just turned 20 yesterday. How was your birthday?
It was really good. It was like the first nice day in Minnesota for a long time, and now it's raining again, so I think the sun came out just for my birthday.
Yeah, it was like 70 degrees yesterday.
I think I got sunburnt.
Sunburnt, dang.
Yeah.
And today it's just been raining all freaking day.
It was like thundering for like a minute straight. It was scary.
That's true. But yeah, I've known Daniela for a very long time. We even went to Disneyland together.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Good times.
Disneyland together. It was a crazy time. But anyways, Daniela is global studies major, same as me, another liberal arts person on the podcast.
Oh yeah, we love liberal arts.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Daniela. I'm also a second year studying global studies and political science. Unlike Ben, I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night, so that's pretty cool.
And the reason I wanted to have Daniela on the podcast is today's topic is going to be living in Alaska, which I think is just the craziest, coolest thing ever. But tell everyone how that happened. Like, how did you end up living in Alaska for, I think, most or if not all of last summer?
Yeah, so I walked into my Arabic class one day in November last year, and one of my best friends in the class was like, hey, I just applied to work at this Girl Scout camp in Alaska. Would you want to apply too? And I was like, I don't know what else I'll do this summer, so sure. So then I applied and then got an interview. They offered me the job right during the interview, and then I accepted it, not really knowing what I just accepted, spending my summer across the country, away from everyone I knew. But yeah, then I just ended up being in Alaska from May to August last summer.
So you accepted the job during the interview?
Yeah, she was like, so we want to offer you the job, you can take some time to think about it, or you can tell me now. And I was like, sure, I'll do it.
Wow. And this was over the phone?
Yeah, we were just on the phone. Yeah.
That's 0 to 100 real quick.
It was real quick.
I'm just going to go all the way across the country and spend my summer in Alaska.
Yeah, for little to no pay, basically.
Really?
Yeah. I got paid less than 50 cents an hour, I think, for what I worked.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I was getting food and a living space for the summer, so I guess that's how it evened out.
Was it considered an internship?
No, it was just a job.
Just a summer job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know for the camps too, because they're only paying you for the time. They're not paying you for when you're sleeping and that kind of stuff either, right?
Yeah, but we're technically we were on the job when we were sleeping. If something was going to happen at night, we would have to respond. But because we were living there and eating their food, they didn't have to pay us minimum wage.
I see.
Yeah.
And this was a Girl Scout camp.
Yeah, Girl Scouts of Alaska.
What does that mean? What's a Girl Scout camp like?
The Girl Scout camp I went to growing up was a lot different from this camp. My camp had horses and just different activities, but being in Alaska, it was pretty secluded. We were kind of in the middle of nowhere. But we just did swimming, arts and crafts, campfires, camp outs, stuff like that.
That's cool. Because, yeah, when I can't even picture Alaska in my head because I've never been there before.
Oh, okay.
But when I picture Alaska, I'm picturing mountains and those huge blue-looking lakes and glaciers, and it being sunny all the time and big elk walking by. Is that actually did you see those types of things?
Honestly,
or was it just a big forest in the middle of nowhere?
That's pretty accurate. Alaska, I went to Alaska once before, but my most recent memories of mountains have been in Colorado. We have to actually drive into the mountains to be anywhere near them. But in Alaska, you're just driving on the highway and you're surrounded on all sides by mountains, which is really cool, but kind of claustrophobic feeling. But yeah, they have a really big problem on the main highway leaving Anchorage of so many moose being killed because they just hang out on the highway.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's one mom that gives birth every year to her moose. on the highway. It's just so weird.
On the highway.
Yeah.
And how many people even live in Alaska? Do you know? I always think it's just some big abandoned place. I mean, I know it's like the size of Texas or bigger than Texas.
It's bigger. It's the biggest state. It's like bigger than Texas.
Yeah.
I have no clue how many people live there, but I feel like it's small.
I feel like you almost got to be like crazy to live there too.
Yeah, there's definitely like an Alaska energy. Like, I don't think anyone from like Minnesota that I've met is anything like the people that I met in Alaska.
Did you feel like you were still in the United States, or did it feel kind of weird and separate and like you were in the Arctic, or like more like Canada?
Yeah, it definitely felt like I was in Canada because like when I went up to Alaska, I didn't fly. Me and my dad like drove through Canada to get there. So it just like felt like I was in a different country the whole time. And like looking at like the like signs on the highway, they had like all of the United States, like the continental United States, and then Canada, and then Alaska, because they had to make sure that their state was like actually on the map.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny.
Wow. And how long was the drive from Minnesota to what city were you in Alaska?
Wasilla.
How long was it from Minnesota to Wasilla?
It was, I think it took me and my dad 6 days when we went up, but it took us like 7 or 8 days when we came back.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really long.
Was it long and boring, or was there like a lot of cool stops on the way?
It was pretty boring when we drove through like Minnesota and North Dakota and then like the beginning of Canada. But then once we got to Alberta and British Columbia, like we were kind of like going through the national parks of Canada, which was really cool. And then we got into like the Yukon territory of Canada, which was like literally so empty. Like we had to like fill up our car with gas every time that we stopped because we didn't know when the next gas station was going to be. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. And fun fact, my mom was born in Fairbanks.
Oh, really?
I've never been to Alaska.
Interesting.
And my mom hasn't been back to Alaska in like since she left. It's like 50 years.
Oh, dang.
But she was born in Fairbanks.
Did she like grow up in Fairbanks, or was she just like
No,
born there?
I think she just lived there for a year or two.
Oh, okay.
But some of the stories that I've heard growing up from family members in the time they lived in Alaska is crazy. And I remember two in particular, and you probably have experience with the first one.
Okay.
But they would tell me that in the summer, there was just times where the sun didn't set, and that it was always sunny, and it would kind of go down, but then it would pop back up again.
Yeah.
And that there was like baseball teams that would play games at midnight because it just never got dark. So people would just be playing outside at midnight. What
That's
was
so
that
funny.
like?
Yeah, no, like all of the campers that like I had, like half of them were like taking melatonin at night because they weren't producing it because it was so sunny all the time. And like I would put campers to bed at like 10. It would be bright as day out. I would like go to the bathroom sometimes at like 3, 4 in the morning, and like it was still sunny out, and I was like,
What?
when is this sun gonna set? Like my dad has a picture when he was in Alaska back in like the 80s where he's just like reading a newspaper at 3 in the morning.
No.
It's like I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way that's true. But like the sun just stays up the whole summer.
So did it ever get dark when you were there?
Towards the end, like mid-August, the sun started setting, and I was like, what's happening? Like I haven't seen the sunset in like months.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does that cause problems with like sunburn?
No, because it's like so far from the equator that it's
Okay.
like there's like no UV, or I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not in science, but it does cause a lot of problems in the winter because the sun doesn't rise really that much. Like everyone has really bad seasonal depression because like they just don't get to see the sun.
Yeah, because in the winter that would be insane because
Yeah,
you'd
it's like
have the total opposite. So you would just be dark all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so extreme too, because I imagine the summers are fairly mild. I mean, what was the average temperature, do you think?
I think the average was around like 50. There was like maybe one day that I got it like into the 60s, but it was pretty mild. But I like really like that weather, so it was really enjoyable all summer.
It's just kind of like sweatshirt type weather.
Yeah, like
most of the time.
sweatshirt and like shorts or like light pants. It was fun.
But it never got up to 80s.
No,
90s.
never.
No.
Literally never.
So were you ever wearing shorts or not much?
There was one day where I wore shorts.
Only
But
one
it
day.
also like rains a lot in Alaska. It's like actually a part of a rainforest.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it's like part of a rainforest. So it was raining there like basically the whole summer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That must have not been fun if you were at a camp, or
Like we made fun like with it, but because it's so temperate too, like when it rains here in the summer, like it's pretty humid, but like it was raining and it was only like 50 degrees, so then like it just started getting so cold. I remember one time we like took our campers swimming and they all had like hypothermia basically by the end of swimming because it was just so cold, and I was like, is this the summertime or what?
Yeah.
But like because of the rain, like there's a lot of different kinds of mushrooms that grow in Alaska,
Interesting.
which was cool to see.
Interesting. What was your day-to-day schedule like?
So we would wake up by the bell, and the bell would ring like 10 minutes before breakfast, and they expected us to be able to get all of our campers up and be ready for breakfast in 10 minutes, like dressed. And most of the time we wouldn't be, so like half of the camp would roll up to breakfast in like their pajamas still. It was pretty chill. And we would have like this like horrible camp food that like came in a Cisco truck twice a week. Ooh. And then we would have breakfast. Someone would clean up breakfast. Then we just have like different activities throughout the day. When I was hired, I didn't realize that I was going to have to be like planning a bunch of the activities every day. So I had to like just come up with random stuff for kids to do. I was like, today we're going to like go pretend to build forts in the forest.
Oh, you were coming up with activities?
Yeah, there was like maybe one activity a day that was planned for us. The rest I had to come up with, like with my co-counselor.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
By the end of the summer, I was like here's a board game. Have fun.
Do you think it was kind of disorganized then?
Yeah, not gonna lie, it was kind of messy.
But did you still enjoy it?
Yeah, like it was still so fun because the kids like didn't care. They were like, whatever, like we're just here to like get away from our families, like,
right? Just
having a good time. And like it just like the counselors got so close because we were all just like, what the heck are we supposed to be doing right now? So that was fun.
And were they mostly all from Alaska, or were they also coming from other places in the United States?
Most of the campers were from Alaska, but because Alaska is so big and there's so many like random like rural communities, a lot of the campers did fly in for camp. And like one time we had a camper like flying on a float plane, so like her parents like flew her to camp like on their plane and landed on the lake.
Oh my goodness.
And it was so extra, but it was so cool to see.
That's badass.
Yeah, it was really badass.
That's a hell of a way to enter into the camp.
Yeah, and her mom flew the plane. Like it wasn't her dad, it was her mom. And I was like, this is cool.
Just casual.
Yeah.
Alaskan things. What did you notice within Alaska of like cultural differences? Or I know I've heard too that people in Alaska eat a ton of fish. I don't know if that's true or not, but what did you notice?
They definitely do eat a lot of fish, but our camp director was like deathly allergic to fish, so we never got to have fish at camp. But I got to go deep sea fishing and caught some halibut, which is cool. So fish is like a big thing in Alaska. The weirdest thing though was like Alaskans tend to be really libertarian. So like one time I was on a hike and this guy was like smoking a joint, but then like also had like a rifle with him, and I was like, what? It was just so weird. Like everyone just like had these like really weird political thoughts, and like I think a lot of them just want to be separate from the US, but like can't be.
Yeah, they're so isolated up there. Do they consider themselves different, like more so, do they consider themselves more so Alaskan than they would American, do you think?
Yeah, I think they definitely do consider themselves more Alaskan, and they like refer to like the continental US as like the lower 48 or like America, but then they like call themselves Alaskans.
I see.
Yeah,
I'd imagine that being super isolated up there. But yeah, from what I've seen these articles about the amount of salmon that Alaskans consume is just huge numbers. I imagine it's more I don't know what you can grow in Alaska either. I imagine it's pretty expensive for them to import certain fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, it was like when I would like, go to like Walmart, because that's like all there was. When I would go to Walmart on my breaks, like buying a bag of Cheetos was like $4 or $5, and I was like, whoa, this is ridiculous. But throughout the summer, because the sun is so intense, like all of their vegetables get like really big. So like one time I saw a cucumber that was like the size of my like forearm, and I was like,
whoa.
this is like not natural, but it was natural. It was so weird.
Yeah. What did that taste like?
I didn't taste it. I was just
Okay.
like looking at it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to eat this.
Yeah. Were you interested in being have you ever done a camp counselor type thing before, or was this totally new for you?
This was pretty new. I have like worked with kids before, but never like this, like never at like a sleepaway camp where I would have to be with them 24/7. That was different.
Yeah. That would be rough, being in charge of all the Girl Scouts. And
Yeah.
were you living in cabins, or what were you living in?
We were living in platform tents, so like the base was made out of like wood and it was like permanent, but then they just like put like tarp over it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we just had like cots, and it was like 4 to 6 counselors in a tent,
And how many
and we would have
Girl
like
Scouts?
40 campers per like unit.
What's a unit?
So like a unit is like the unit of like tents. So there'd be like 6 tents in a unit. There'd be 40 girls and like 6 counselors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what age were all the girls?
As young as 5 and like up to high school.
At the same camp together?
They would be like divided into age groups.
Okay.
But like we would have like 5-year-olds for like the 3-day or 4-day camps, and then like the high schoolers were more likely like gonna be there for like a week or 2 weeks.
I see. So you get new groups of students coming in every few weeks then?
Yeah, so like we would have like 2 1-week sessions, and then like a break, a 2-week session, a break, like so on and so forth.
Would you get attached to a lot of the girls too? Or was it sad, or were you...
Yeah, no, it was sad. Like my last session, that we like got really attached to the girls just because they were all really sweet, and they like were helpful, and they weren't annoying. They weren't mean like the middle schoolers I had the week before. And then just like having to say goodbye to them and like knowing that I would never see them again was kind of sad.
Yeah. Same with the counselors too. I'd imagine you got pretty close to
Yeah.
a lot of them, especially.
Yeah, and it was hard because a lot of the counselors like that I got close to are from like Europe, so I was like,
okay.
but it's nice because then I can like go visit them and
Yeah.
stay with them. But yeah, my like closest friends from camp, one lives in Tennessee, the other one lives in Ireland, and then one lives in New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch, or just
Yeah, we have
social media?
we have like a group chat, and we like talk and like FaceTime every once in a while, but it's hard because of like the time differences too.
Yeah. Summer camps are tough. I was at one last summer as well.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Poland, but it was only for 2 weeks. But yeah, at the end of those, you get really attached to some of the people. I mean, I'm pretty good at not getting too attached, but I remember the goodbyes was always people just bawling their eyes out
Yeah.
and like hugging you, and like the kids were just heartbroken. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness.
It's
They get
so
so
hard for the
attached.
kids. The kids get like attached to each other, but they're like all from like around wherever, and they don't really get to see each other again until like maybe next year at camp.
Yeah.
Do you think the campers got attached to you?
Yeah, they definitely did. I remember this one girl in particular who was just crying and like wouldn't even
sad.
let go of me, and she was saying like, I'll never like meet someone as nice as you again. And
Oh
I
my
was like, no,
God.
it'll be all right. Like, you're gonna meet a ton of cool people like throughout the next few years in your life, and like there'll be people just as cool as me. I don't know. It sounds...
I'm so cool.
Yeah,
That
but
is
she
so
was just
sad.
like crying and crying. I didn't even know what to do because
Oh my
I'm not
God.
good in those type of situations. So
Well,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
if someone's just
yeah.
like attached to you crying, that
Mhm.
would be so hard.
Yeah, for me too. As a
Yeah.
guy, I'm just kind of staying like,
Like,
her parents are like kind of looking
Like,
at me.
what's
I'm
happening? How old were you campers?
They were middle school.
Okay.
They were, actually, it was a pretty big range. It was age 11 to 18.
Oh, that is big.
So some of them were 6th grade and some of them were like seniors in high school.
Yeah. Did you have them for like the full 2 weeks?
No, it was 1 week sessions. So
Okay,
I
so
had
you had-
2 1-week sessions.
Were
And-
your middle schoolers like mean to you?
No, there wasn't. They weren't mean to me. There was some that were particularly troublesome because they were
Okay.
middle schoolers and
Yeah.
they were just crazy, and I got the privilege of being handed those middle schoolers
Yeah.
to deal with.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. So there was some crazy ones, but I don't know, they were all respectful and we all
Oh,
got
that's
along,
nice.
and it was just sometimes it was hard to keep them on track, but
Yeah.
it's to be expected. It's a camp. The days get long.
Mm-hmm.
It was an English camp. We're trying to teach them English.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little harder because then the camp's based around learning. It's not all fun. Like
Mhm.
sometimes it's gonna be more serious.
Yeah.
And other times it will be fun games. But no, camp life is super interesting.
It's so. When you were at camp, were you living in tents or did you have cabins?
We were in like a hotel.
Oh, what? That is so much fancier than my camp.
We were okay, it gets even better. We were actually in like a palace. It's called like a palace in Poland, and it's basically like a really nice hotel. I can't even describe it, but it's kind of looks like a palace on the outside, but it's got like columns, and the rooms were all super nice, and it had like a backyard, and it was pretty bougie.
And you got paid to live there for 2 weeks.
No, we didn't get paid.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was just like you, where you get the food,
Yeah.
and the living, and you could even, if you did it for like 4 weeks, I think you could even get credit for college. I didn't do it for that long.
Yeah.
But they had these programs throughout Poland, so you could go to different cities if you want. I stayed, but apparently I did stay in the nicest one
Of course you
that
did.
they had, because people were telling me that some of them they did stay at were more like, I don't know if they ever stayed in cabins, but there was
Yeah.
definitely places where it was just kind of like a guest house,
Oh, okay.
and it wasn't very nice. So I lucked out. I got the palace. Insane. Yeah, I missed that place. But I noticed in camp too that when I was there, it almost felt like I was just in a different world.
Yes.
Like we're living in this
Yeah.
kind of bubble,
Mhm.
and we have 1-2 weeks, and all I was really thinking about was just being here and the people I'm with. And then, yeah, you know what I mean though?
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially like not being able to like really leave until like the session was done or whatever. I was like, I felt very like almost like I was in like a compound or something. I just like, and I didn't have any cell phone service and there was no Wi-Fi at camp, so I was just like didn't know at all what was going on in the outside world.
Whoa, so you didn't have any internet service?
No, like I would go to Walmart to get Wi-Fi at the end of camp because I was like, I need to talk to someone that's like outside of this place. You probably had like cell service in the palace that you were living at.
Yeah, I
but
did the whole time.
we didn't have that luxury in Alaska.
Wow, so you'd go entire weeks with just no internet connection.
Yeah, like I could call. It like costed me money. It cost me money, but it was like worth it to like talk to someone that like wasn't inside this like bubble that I felt like I was
Mhm.
inside.
What was that like? Was that horrible? I mean, I know so many people, including myself,
Mm-hmm.
are super attached to like devices and being
Yeah.
on the internet, and I imagine for me too, like just the thought of having to go a week without internet would be like that would be tough.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like I thought it was going to be harder than it was because I definitely like knew I was someone who's like attached to being able to like use my phone to like go on Instagram or go on Twitter or whatever. But it was surprisingly easy just because I was so busy with camp and I only like got like a 2-hour break every day for like myself, and I would use that to like shower or like do laundry or write letters home or call my parents. So like I didn't really have the time to go on social media, and at night I was just so tired I would like pass out. So like coming back and like having time to like go on my phone has been like, it was like weird. When I got back I was like, I don't know how to like navigate this anymore.
Yeah, and when you got back too, you probably felt like you had a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I was like, I don't know what to do with all this free time. Like I don't know what to do without having like 10 children asking me what we're gonna do next. Like it was very relaxing, but I also felt like I was not doing what I needed to be doing.
Right. And was there points during the camp, I imagine, where you were just like, yo, I want to get home, or I don't
Yeah.
want to be here? Did you
Yeah.
go through like those kind of thoughts?
With my, 2-week camp. Both times we had 2-week camp, and I just got so tired of the kids because I had middle schoolers the last time around, and they were so mean to me. They just like didn't really like me, which is fine. I like could deal with it, but by the end of it I was like, I need to go home. But that was like the second to last session, so it was fine. But they just like we did like a Harry Potter dinner, and they were like, oh, you should dress up like Snape, you're the meanest person here.
What?
And I was like, oh my god, okay.
Damn.
Yeah,
Middle schoolers are savage.
they were so mean. I was like, I'm never talking to a middle schooler again.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
Mm-mm.
But for them, would you do it again or no?
I would. I was like thinking about it. I was like, would I go back? I don't know if I'd go back to the camp I was working at, just because I kind of want to leave it at that summer. I really liked the like staff that I got to work with, and it's not going to be the same. Like,
Yes.
there's only like 2 people I think going back from my season. So I'm looking at working at some day camps. I don't know if I would want to do like resident camp again.
And you're still interested in Alaska?
I like always wanted to live in Alaska while I was growing up. Like, I would like really pay attention to like Alaskan news. But after living there for just like 3 months, I think I've had enough of Alaska.
You're kind of like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, no, like that was like the perfect amount. And yeah, I don't know if I could ever actually like fully live there.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right too about the comparison thing. When I was talking to someone in Poland about that, about how there is some people I know too who are going back to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But he was telling me that when I stayed at the palace for 2 weeks, like I said, it was 2 different sessions, but
Yeah.
even the counselors switched because some
right.
of them were going to different cities within Poland. So it was like whole new counselors, whole new kids. And he was telling me that he doesn't like staying at the same place because anything that happened in that second week, I was going to compare with the first week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that really did happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, well, the new counselors came in. I was like, these guys aren't as cool as the ones from last week.
Yeah.
And like kids come in and it was like,
They're just
maybe not.
okay.
Yeah, they're just okay.
Yeah.
And everything was a comparison to
Mhm.
what had happened last week. Whereas if I had gone to another city, it would have been a new place, new people, new experiences.
That's
I
true.
probably wouldn't have compared it as much.
Yeah. I definitely felt like even though like I was around like the same counselors all summer, like I definitely did compare the weeks. I was like, these kids aren't as like fun or like easygoing as my last kids were, which I felt bad for because I was like they had nothing to do with the last group of kids. Like I should give them a shot, but they just like weren't as fun.
Yeah, you're definitely right too about going back to the social media things. The days were super long for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably 8 or 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, dang. That is long.
Yeah, and then at 10 p.m., it was the kids would go to bed, and then we would stay up, just the counselors, and like play cards for like an hour or two and just talk. And it was like our mental
your break.
mental time. I don't know how to describe it, but those were always fun.
Yeah.
And I have some crazy stories too from that trip that I'll probably tell it another time. But they would have, I mean, just to give preview, they would have these huge parties at the palace on Fridays.
Oh my god. At the palace.
People would travel from miles, kilometers, if we're talking Poland, kilometers and kilometers, because we were in a very rural area as well, in a small town. And there was just some huge parties I remember on the Fridays where there was like all of a sudden hundreds of people in like the backyard and like in the palace, and they had a DJ that came in.
Oh my god.
And there was lights and dancing, and it was
Was it
crazy.
like other counselors from other camps coming, or was it just
No,
like
it was,
random people?
It was for the town members.
Oh.
It was just like a Polish culture thing where it's, every Friday we have a party, and this is like where the party's at.
Oh, that's fun.
And it repeats every single Friday.
And it was at the palace?
It was at the palace.
Oh, dang.
And I was staying at the palace and just walked out, and there was some crazy times there.
One time, the closest we got to a party, me and like 3 other counselors just like drank wine on like a 3-day camp break.
Yeah.
And someone snitched on us.
What?
So all 4 of us got like written warnings, and 3 of them were like European, so they were here on a visa,
Mm-hmm.
and they were underage. And so our camp director was like, if we weren't understaffed, you guys would be deported. And we were like, oh my God. It was so intense.
How did they figure that out?
I don't know, because we literally like, we got like a box of Franzia, and we like burned the box, and then I took the like bag that it comes in into town and threw it away in town. So like someone just like must have overheard us talking about it and like snitched on us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was my first written warning, and then I got a second one. I got the second one because I rode in a 12-passenger van with 15 people, and they said that wasn't safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Alaska stories. What was like your best memory? Some of your best memories?
I really liked going on like the couple day breaks with my like co-counselors. The first break we went to Kenai Fjords, which is like in the bottom of Alaska by Seward, and we just like, I brought some tents up because I had my car at camp, and we just like camped along the ocean, and we went whale watching, and we went to Exit Glacier, and I got like a picture where Obama got his picture in Alaska, and it was really fun.
That sounds super fun. Did you get to see a decent amount of Alaska in your time there?
Yeah, but Alaska is so big, so like I also didn't get to see a lot of Alaska, but I got to see like Kenai Fjords, Denali. On my way home, my dad and I stopped at Skagway and Haines, which are like kind of down where all those like small little islands are, like closer to California, but like not really. But like it's such a big state. Like I still like can't really like conceptually understand how big it is, because I think I've only seen like maybe like a 16th of Alaska. And it's just so big.
Yeah, I definitely need to convince my mom to go back to Alaska.
Yeah,
and
have her bring you back, show it around.
I think it would be a super, super fun place to go to. So that's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's already been 32 minutes so
oh my
far,
God.
and yeah, it just flies by.
Yeah.
But once again, to anyone who's still listening, thanks a ton for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you get notified when the next one comes out. We're on all available platforms. Wherever you're listening to, you should be able to subscribe. Daniela was a great guest to have on the show. Hopefully, she'll definitely be back.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, we still have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So definitely. But any closing words?
Go visit Alaska.
Yeah, go visit Alaska.
Yeah, see for yourself.
AlaskaTourism.com.
I'm the plug.
She's the plug. But yeah, once again, thanks for listening, and see you later.
Bye.